guys, I do have some bad news for Beyonce. And this doesn't even affect Beyonce, so I won't say that. Let's turn our attention over to Beyonce's husband, none other than Jay-Z. So, FYI, you guys, he is currently facing a lawsuit from a woman who alleges that he and Sean P. Diddy Combs raped her back in 2000. The lawsuit has been very controversial because there are unfortunately a lot of very big holes in the woman's story. You know, in all of her allegations. For example, she had claimed that she went 3 hours away. She was 13 years old. She went 3 hours away. Her friend drove her. No one knows how this 13-year-old had a random friend who can help her sneak out and drive her 3 hours away. She said that after the alleged assault, her father came driving 3 hours to go pick her up. The father doesn't remember. She said that while she was at this award show where it all took place, she spoke with Benji Madden of Good Charlotte. Benji Madden was not actually there. There are things like that have popped up in the story that have not been accurate. A good defense that people have had has been that sometimes trauma, you remember things not 100% the way as they happened, right? But some of these inconsistencies have been hurting her case. And so Jay-Z and his lawyer, they pounced on all of that because NBC did release an official statement as they did the interview with her saying, hey, listen, we're going to publish this interview, but just so you guys know, a lot of the claims that she is making are not adding up. So we want to make that clear in all fairness here, right? So Jay-Z, his lawyers, they pounced on that and they demanded that the judge throw out the case. So now here's the judge responding to that. And unfortunately for Jay-Z, it was not a good response for him or his team. In fact, the judge denied throwing out the case. She said, nope, we're going to let this case proceed. Jay-Z had also asked for the alleged victim to be unmasked and revealed because she filed anonymously. And the judge also said no to that as well. And so not only did she deny both things for him, she also issued a stern warning to his legal team for the, quote, relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks on the accuser's lawyer, Tony Buzbee. She also said that since Carter's attorney first appeared in this case 17 days ago, he has submitted a litany of letters and motions attempting to impugn the character of the plaintiff's lawyer, Tony Buzbee. These are inappropriate, a waste of judicial resources, and a tactic unlikely to benefit his client, Jay-Z. So for those of you guys who may not recall some of the things that Jay-Z's lawyer and Jay-Z himself, because Jay-Z has been tweeting about this case on the Rock Nation Twitter account, some of the things they've been saying about Tony Buzbee. They've been saying that Tony Buzbee is an ambulance chaser. He's conducted a shakedown. He is a 1-800 lawyer. He is in the pursuit of money and fame. Let me give you guys the judge's name. Her name is Analisa Torres. She says, no, y'all got to stop with this. This is wholly inappropriate. We are not going to conduct ourselves this way in my courtroom. So mic check 1 2 1 2. I have a question for you. If you were watching me live, which by the way, hello. Thank you so much for joining me. Or if you're watching the playback, you're part of my playback posse, my VOD squad, let me know in the comment section after the fact. But how do you feel about the judge's ruling? Do you think it's fair that she is refusing to unmask Jay-Z's accuser? So again, the accuser is claiming that this happened in 2000. Jay-Z doesn't know who is making this claim, and he wanted to know. I gotta tell you, from my perspective, I see both sides here. You know, I see why Jay-Z would want to obviously know who is making these allegations against him, right? Because how can you defend yourself if you don't even know what you're defending yourself against, who you're defending yourself against, right? Like, I do think personally that you should, in certain cases, have the right to know who is making allegations against you. I think in other cases, like, for example, if there is like a mobster or something like that where you have to be protected and they can whack you or something like that, yeah, keep the identity private. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a very complicated case. I could see why her identity can and should be kept private, but I could also see why someone who needs to defend themselves should also have the right to know who they're defending themselves against. I don't know. I feel like it's a very, 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 very difficult thing. You know what I want to do actually? I might have to reach out to one of my lawyer friends, either Stephanie from Allegedly Stephanie or Dmitry Shaknovich from DSHAK Law, to understand a little bit more about kind of the double-edged sword of all of this. Free says, nice to see you. Hey, thank you, Free. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's attached to my internet, but sometimes it could be a little bit iffy, my internet. Well, if someone is drugging you, would you remember everything? Great point, Messy Nessie. Great point. That is fair. That is fair. Do you think you celebrate B is J-Lo if this is true? Celebrity B. Someone else filed a lawsuit, and that lawsuit allegedly exposed Celebrity B as being J-Lo. But honestly, I have a hard time with this story because people have been saying, is it J-Lo? Is it Beyonce? I honestly do not believe that J-Lo or Beyonce would stand there and watch this happen to a 13-year-old. I'm sorry, but I have a hard time with this case, to be honest with you guys. Okay. So it looks like some of you guys, most of you guys think that it's best to protect the victim and to not release the victim's identity. Here's another question. What if they released the victim's identity to Jay-Z and his team, but kept it out of the press, a press embargo of it or something like that? Or are you saying not at all? Very, very curious. Listen, at the end of the day, I do understand why an identity would need to be protected for sure. Exactly, Pop Tart. Exactly. There's some things that are kind of missing in this story that make it a really difficult one. To be honest with you guys, I did think when Jay-Z and his lawyer, they were filing the motions, and when NBC News was coming out and saying that there were a lot of holes in the story, I honestly thought that the case was going to be dismissed. But listen, there's more to the story. So we're about to find out a little bit more before we see what's going to happen. Is it going to be a jury situation? Is it not going to be? Will it actually make it to trial, or will something else happen that will change the outcome of this entire thing? Stay tuned. Okay, you guys.